30, I'm going to hit start.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for our August Lunch and Learn. I'm Carol Battle, and I manage the statewide wellness program through the Office of State Human Resources. Today's program is devoted to protein shakes and smoothies. Both of these are wonderful additions to a healthy eating regimen. As a reminder, everyone who registered for this event will receive a recording of today's presentation, as well as recipes and a link to our webpage, where we house all past cooking demos, as well as invitations to upcoming webinars. I'd like to introduce Katie Goden from Lifestyle Medical Center. Katie has been a registered dietitian for over 15 years. She focuses on helping individuals improve their knowledge and relationship with food and to meet their health goals. Lifestyle Medical is an in-network nutrition counseling service. And for any of you who are enrolled in the state health plan, virtual and in-person visits are covered at 100% for in-network providers. We have dietitians across the whole state. So to find one near you, log into your state health plan portal, which a link is posted on this cover slide, and you'll be able to find one close to your location. During the presentation, please use the chat box if you have any questions, and we will be answering those along with Katie during the cooking demo. We've saved a few minutes at the end of the event as well to conquer any of those questions that we aren't able to get to. So welcome, Katie.
Thank you, Carol. I'm happy to be here today, and I'm excited about this topic. It's a good time of year for it too. This is usually when I crave smoothies, and just the nice, cool, frozen aspect to it. And one of the recipes that I'm making today is a smoothie bowl, which I don't know if you guys have tried before. So very similar to the smoothie, of course, but just a different way of eating it. So I'm excited to share some tips and tricks just involving all things smoothies and protein shakes. So we'll go ahead and get started. I always like to mention in the beginning, I know that Carol mentioned that I'm affiliated with Lifestyle Medical Centers. We do offer one-on-one nutrition counseling. We have a combination of dietitians and also physician's assistants and nurse practitioners and medical providers and medical assistants. We've got a nice team of people that are willing and excited to work with you guys on your personal health and wellness goals. Some of the services are listed there, but they're not limited to just the things that are mentioned. But we have a variety of things that we can work with you on and tailor them towards your specific needs. And like Carol said, you do have coverage through your insurance, and we are still offering virtual appointments, which I think is really nice and convenient. And I'm hoping that that sticks around for a long time and forever. So anyway, all right, so let's get started. The first thing I wanted to talk about was, what's the difference, protein shake or smoothie? What should we drink? What's the best for which reason? There's not a ton of difference. I would say you probably can already guess that a smoothie just has a little bit more to it. Protein shakes, usually your just average protein shake is either a powder mixed with some type of liquid, which we'll talk a lot about what that might look like and how to kind of make those and what is involved with powders versus ready to drink options that are out there in the market these days. And the protein shakes just kind of have this history of being used typically post-workouts to help with muscle growth. They can also be used as a supplement to a meal. I know I get a lot of questions about, but won't protein shakes make me gain weight? And there's a yes and a no to that. So it depends on how you're drinking them. Protein shakes can be had alongside your 3 meals and a couple snacks a day, especially if you're trying to really pack in a good amount of protein after a workout to obtain that muscle growth. But then you can also swap out a protein shake or smoothie in place of a meal so that you're, getting that protein to help keep you full, but you're not packing in those extra calories from a meal as well. So, so yes, protein shakes can be used for weight gain, but they can also be used as part of just a healthy, well-rounded meal plan to fit your needs, whether they be weight loss or weight maintenance. Okay. Now, when is it best to use them? So, like I just mentioned, a meal replacement if desired. I'm not someone that says that we need to, the whole slim fast craze, right? So let's replace one meal or two meals, right, with two slim fast shakes and a healthy meal at the end of the day. No, absolutely not. I am not someone that wants people to feel like they can't eat, and that in order to be healthy and lose weight or maintain weight or whatever your goals are, that we have to replace a meal. This is only if you desire it. Smoothies can be delicious and they can be enjoyable, and they can be something that you want as part of your maybe a breakfast regimen or a snack throughout the day, but they certainly aren't something that you have to have. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. Post-exercise, like I mentioned, smoothies can be supplemented with protein. They're not just, fruit and a liquid. So I think it's good that we will talk about what a balanced smoothie looks like. And that does include all those 3 macronutrients that I've mentioned in the past: protein, carbohydrates, and healthy fats, to make it more of a complete meal if you are having it as that. And yeah, so post-exercise, that might be when you grab a ready-to-drink protein shake, or maybe you whip up just some unsweetened almond milk with a scoop of protein powder and drink that. It's really interesting that studies do show that it's really the amount of protein that you're having in a day versus exactly when you consume the protein. I think if you're really involved in weight training and you really want to maximize that muscle growth, then I do think consuming it within 2 hours can be very beneficial. But just in general, just if you're trying to, like if you have a hard time meeting protein needs, or if you need to concentrate those calories, if someone has, I usually focus in on children and elderly, because sometimes in those age ranges, you can have a varying degree of appetite. And so sometimes you might need to boost nutrients within those age groups, and a protein shake or a smoothie could be helpful for that. And like I mentioned just a minute ago, it can be used for weight loss, for weight maintenance, or for weight gain. That is where a personal dietitian can help you figure out how to fit this in calorie-wise and macronutrient-wise to fit within those health goals. Okay, so I wanted to go through the types of protein powders. I know this is a hot topic, and I will answer as many questions as I need to. And I also mentioned to Carol that if I get into a period where I can't answer everyone's question, I'm happy to get back to you guys when they send out the information that I've provided for you guys, the slides, the recipes. I have a handout on smoothies. We can kind of get back to you with any questions that we don't answer today. But to get into the types of protein powders, there's animal and then there's plant-based. The main types of animal protein that you've probably heard about, and maybe you haven't heard about some of these, but whey is probably the most popular that you see out there. Casein, which whey and casein are the two proteins that are found in milk. Then there's egg white protein, and then there's collagen protein. And I'm going to go over the differences here in just a second. And then you have your plant-based protein powders, which are becoming increasingly popular just for a variety of reasons, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But these types of proteins are going to come from things like brown rice, quinoa, beans, seeds, and I'm sorry, I meant to to clip in chia there, and I forgot to add that, but hemp, flax, chia, and then soy, and then there's blends. So when it comes to plant-based versus animal, the main difference is that animal proteins are complete protein. Plant-based, you have to pair things together a little differently, hence why there are blends, and I'm going to go through that here in just a second, okay? Okay, so just a little bit more about these animal-based powders, and then I'm going to give you some examples of what those are. But whey protein is absorbed almost immediately after it's ingested. And so it really is the best when it comes to muscle growth when you're comparing all of the animal protein powders together. It tends to have the best mixability, which means it just mixes well with the liquid that you're using. Whereas some powders can get clumpy and kind of stick to the bottom of your blender or your shaker cup. And then they also have a lot of different flavor profiles. So this type of animal-based protein powder can be really helpful for athletes and those trying to build muscle. But anyone can use it. You don't have to be an athlete and you don't have to be someone trying to build muscle to use whey protein powder. Kind of like I mentioned just before, it's all in the way that you drink these protein drinks, which like I said, a dietitian can help you figure out. All right, so then you have casein. So this is absorbed. Oh, sorry, Kira. I'm gonna go through those real quick. So casein absorbed much slower than whey protein. So who would be good for that? So someone who is trying to protect the breakdown. It does more for protecting the breakdown of existing muscles. So for example, those who have a difficult time keeping on weight, this could be a really good protein source for them. Or if you are going to go really long distances between eating, for instance, if you are drinking a protein shake at night and then you're fasting, so you can drink it before bed, it can kind of do a little bit better of a job than whey protein powder can do as far as muscle growth goes. And then if you're not having food for a while. So for example, if you're someone who, you tend to work out in the morning and then go 5+ hours without eating anything, which is not something I usually recommend, but it happens. This particular type of protein powder can do a better job than compared to whey. And then with egg white, the benefit of this is that it doesn't contain any dairy. So as I talked about, whey and casein are the two proteins that are found in milk. So of course they do have little bits of lactose involved, and so sometimes people can do okay with them, but some people with extreme lactose intolerance might want to look elsewhere, like an egg white protein, if they're choosing an animal-based powder. It can cause less stomach pain. It also has the highest quality associated with it. 100% of it is utilized by the body, pretty much. And then also a really good option if you like to use protein powders when you're cooking or baking. So which is something that, people might try to do if they're trying to sneak in extra protein and things. And then last is collagen. Maybe you guys have heard of collagen protein, collagen peptides. There was a craze with that for a while. There still kind of is, but this is not the most ideal protein for someone who's trying to build muscle. Collagen is really known for improving the elasticity of your skin, making your skin look more youthful, stronger nails, hair. It has extra protein to it. So if you're, it does boost your protein in general, but just as far as protein for the act of muscle growth and building muscles, there are better protein sources out there. All right. Okay, so let's talk about plant-based protein powders really fast. So like I mentioned, a lot of people are leaning more towards these types of protein powders for reasons such as health, environment, sustainability, religion, animal cruelty, compassion, etc. There's lots of different options out there. You can make plant-based protein powders complete. If you are someone who eats a variety in your diet, it isn't going to matter if your protein powder is a complete protein powder because you're getting other sources of protein mixed in throughout the day. And remember, like I said before, it's really a combination of what you're eating throughout the day versus just what you're having in this protein shake when it comes to just an overall healthy diet. So Also, if you are consuming a vegetarian diet, oh yeah, that's right, like I just mentioned, you're able to get in those other sources. And then I had already mentioned what those plant-based protein powder sources are. So there's just another mention of that there at the bottom. So these are a few examples. Guys, I could talk a lot about what types of protein powders are out there, what are the best, what are the things you're looking for. These are some of the top rated brands. What you're going to get into is how much am I wanting to spend on these? The reality is I'm only taking in maybe a couple of protein shakes a week. Is it the biggest deal if we're choosing the top rated, or maybe we just need something for convenience and we just don't want to break the bank? But for animal-based protein powders, naked whey protein powder, the Vital Protein Collagen peptides, and then the SFH Pure Whey protein powder here have been really reviewed and rated as, just as far as quality, taste, mixability, those are some of the things that they look for when they're trying to rate and review some of these protein powders. And then when you look at the plant-based protein powders, Orgain, which is one that I use a lot, I like that one. Again, they're all pretty similar. I think you're just kind of going to have different preferences when it comes to taste and when it comes to flavors and things like that. So these are ones that, again, get voted for taste, flavor, mixability, those types of things, quality of the nutrients that are involved in them. So just wanted to throw those out there, the Orgain, Vega 1, Nativa, and the Sun Warrior Classic. And all of these are found over Amazon. So if you can go into your health food stores and find them too, and local grocery stores as well are selling a lot more variety these days. But Amazon is kind of my go-to, and it's just pretty simple. But yeah, okay. So those are just a few of the powders. Now, as far as your ready to drink options go, these are nice and convenient. Okay, they can get expensive because of the convenience factor. Iconic Protein is just voted as one of the best quality, and I've had many people tell me that there's just nothing else like this. I'm going to just full disclosure, never had this before. I'm sensitive to ready to drink proteins drinks, which a lot of people can be if you have any issues, severe issues with lactose. And I do, so I really struggle with these on a regular basis. I can have one here and there, but if I'm doing something daily, I like to use a powder. But Iconic Protein is expensive, and I'm sure you can go on Amazon and buy in bulk and kind of get them cheaper that way. But Pure Protein is going to be your best budget. It's not going to have as quality of ingredients as the Iconic Protein goes. But you guys, when I think about being super nitpicky about ingredients, I'm also looking at what else we're consuming in a day and how often we're consuming these protein drinks. If you're consuming 2 or 3 protein drinks a day to meet your needs, then we might want to talk about that as a side note and kind of just come up with another plan and why you feel you're needing to drink so many. If you're drinking one every few days, no, I don't think it's the biggest deal, and you have a bunch of different other nutrients involved in your day, and it's very well rounded. Having a little bit of artificial sweeteners in a protein drink, I don't think I'm going to be super picky about if you're not consuming a lot of artificial sweeteners elsewhere and you really struggle with meeting your protein needs. So I think that there's always room to discuss and figure out what's best for you. But Premier Protein is another budget-friendly protein drink. And then Core Power, so Fairlife, I've had this one. I tried this one because Fairlife Protein is a little bit more, has a little less lactose in it. But still, I drink them almost daily. They taste really well. I'm going to tell you, they're delicious, but they bothered my stomach. So just mentioning that. And then Orgain, which I also really love. I use those occasionally for my kids. So Orgain has a really yummy and nice flavor and nutrient profile for children. And you can get those at Costco if you're a member there, other bulk food stores, as well as grocery stores and Amazon, but you're going to find the best deals if you can buy them in bulk. Okay. protein powders and protein, drinks and things like that in your shakes and in your smoothies are ideal in some ways because you can get in a bunch of protein at once. Some of these protein powders can have up to 30 grams in them. We have to be mindful that we don't always need protein powders to meet our protein needs, though, especially if you're an average individual who isn't in the gym working out with weights daily for an hour plus. You don't need 100 plus grams of protein a day. We only really need between maybe 50 to 60 grams of protein, given that's going to vary individual, male, female, given your weight. That's something we can help you figure out. But roughly around, I would say, an average of 60 grams. And that's easily met through diet. And so there are other things that we can add, and I'm going to demonstrate that today, but Greek yogurt is a great one. In the smoothie bowl that I'm making today, that's what I'm using for my protein source. 16 grams of protein for 5 ounces. That's amazing. And that's plenty for a breakfast smoothie. And flavorless, I enjoy using plain when I'm making smoothies because the other fruits and such are going to sweeten it up. So you can really get away with the plain Greek yogurt when it comes to that. Spinach even gives you 6 grams per cup. So you can get protein from these leafy greens and nut butters. The thing about nut butters is they're also a really good healthy fat source, but they can load up calories. So one thing we always want to be mindful of is how many calories we're adding to these smoothies and protein shakes. Again, that's where individualized help can be really, really nice. I have quite a few recipes that I'm going to send out today that have the calorie count and information on it so that you can kind of get a general feel of what a typical smoothie has in it. But again, oats, hemp seeds, tofu, spirulina, which is a blue algae in a powder form, which is really high antioxidant, very healthy, but it does have 8 grams of protein per tablespoon. It has a strong flavor though, so I'm just gonna mention that. And then kefir, which is a probiotic milk drink, and so it's added with extra probiotics and fermented, and so it has a little bit of a stronger flavor to it than just Greek yogurt. So you kind of have to be okay with a little bit of that bitterness because it is more bitter than just a regular Greek yogurt. Okay. So when you're thinking about building the ideal protein shake and smoothie, so we've kind of gotten some information about powders and what's maybe some ready to drink options are, but I have a great handout that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today, which kind of goes through, the liquid, the protein, the fruits and veggies, the healthy fats. What are some other options that you can add to these smoothies? And if I can give you one tip, my biggest tip is to make it simple, easy. Do not feel like you have to literally pull out the kitchen sink, everything in your house, everything in your cabinet to make these smoothies, because you aren't going to make them if that's the case. There are so many fancy adders that we can put in a smoothie these days, but my go-tos I've listed here. Some type of liquid, which can range from nut milk, cashew almond, flax milk, coconut milk. Side note, just to kind of talk through these milks, there's a lot of dairy-free milks out there these days. And you might be wondering, well, what's the difference? And why do I choose almond milk over coconut milk? And why do I choose oat milk over flax milk? Well, again, a big part of it is flavor. Some people prefer just a very mild flavor to the almond milk. It's not too thick. It's pretty watery. Basically, all of these, the cashew, the almond milk, the flax milk, the coconut milk, it's literally the ingredient in the name: cashews, almonds, flax seeds, coconut, mixed with water. So you can make them at home. A lot of people buy them out, which I do personally. And so, if you have any allergies to nuts, obviously you wouldn't choose almond. Flax milk and flax milk is really nice because it has a great protein profile to it. Almost similar, I think it's around the same as regular milk, so 8 grams per cup. Whereas almond milk doesn't have really any protein to it. But depending on what you're making, you know, they can all kind of fit the need for a protein or a smoothie. I think it just kind of depends. They're all really great dairy-free options though. And you can use regular milk if you want to. I think, again, that just kind of depends on what else you're adding to it, and if you have any issues with lactose, and if you're trying to reduce calories but still get that creamy texture, then choosing one of these dairy-free milks could be a lower calorie option. And then you would choose, after you've chosen that liquid, we're going to choose a protein source. So obviously we've talked a little bit about protein powders, but then we just talked about a bunch of other ways that we can add protein to our smoothie as well. And then of course we want to add in fruits and vegetables. So usually I say about 1 cup of fruit. Frozen works great. I love the texture of a smoothie when it's frozen, especially these smoothie bowls that I'm making today. Frozen fruit does a lot better to get that thicker consistency that's easy to eat with a spoon. And plus you can buy frozen fruit and keep it in your freezer and not have to worry about chopping it up. I chopped up fresh fruit today, but you can certainly buy frozen and just keep it in the freezer. And that's such an easy replacement for ice as well. You don't have to add a bunch of ice. And then you want to try to get a serving of veggie in there if you can. I'm going to be using spinach today, but spinach or kale. You can even add steamed vegetables, you guys. And I know that might sound very strange, but it's a great way. Cauliflower and sweet potato are awesome to add creaminess to your smoothie. And the sweet potato is going to obviously add a little bit of a sweet taste, but the cauliflower is essentially going to be very mild, and probably you wouldn't be able to detect it at all in there. Same with the spinach. And then adding in a healthy fat. This is where we can add in a tablespoon of chia or flaxseed, maybe a tablespoon of some type of nut butter, maybe a tablespoon of some type of healthy oil, maybe a tablespoon of avocado, which you can also buy frozen, and you can also slice up and freeze yourself so that it doesn't go bad in your refrigerator and doesn't turn brown. You can add in frozen avocado, and that's a way to get your healthy fat. And then if you're wanting to add in a little extra sweetness without adding in a bunch of sugar, something like vanilla or cinnamon, or even a little bit of coconut milk, which has a natural sweetness to it, those are good options for that. Okay. All right. So what should we watch out for? These are things that can get a little tricky. Added sugars. And so a lot of times, you know, things like your ready to drink smoothies. I always use the example for Bolt House Farms. Sorry, Bolt House Farms. I'm not trying to reduce my Alexa. Sorry, guys, my Alexa is going off because I was speaking so loud. Anyway, the Bolt House Farms smoothies tend to have a decent amount of added sugars to them. So when it comes to, y'all, I'm so embarrassed, but my Alexa is playing music, and I'm gonna go unplug it. Okay, hold on real quick.
While Katie is doing that, just to remind you that we'll all get a copy of today's presentation.
I'm so sorry. What was that, Carol?
Okay. That's okay.
I'm really embarrassed, and all I could do was laugh because it was one of my son. He's in 5th grade, and it was one of his songs that he was listening to. And oh my gosh, y'all, that was anyway. Okay, back to it. One of the perks of working from home, your Alexa can randomly go off during a presentation. Okay, so added sugars, things like honey, maple syrup, these are things that aren't necessary, but if done in just a little bit, if you're just kind of adding a small amount, that's fine. But we want to make sure we're measuring and we're kind of being careful as far as that goes. Now, when you are thinking about sugar alcohols, so just to give a little bit of information on these, which I'm going to try to not get too involved here, but if you've not heard of sugar alcohols, they're basically not a sugar or an alcohol, actually. They're a carbohydrate that has a chemical structure that resembles sugar and alcohol, but they don't actually doesn't contain ethanol, which is what's found in an alcoholic beverage, okay? So it's usually absorbed very poorly. They occur naturally from fruits and vegetables. They're used for sweetness and thickness, so they do still have a sweetness factor to them, but because of their poor absorption, they're typically used in products that are labeled sugar-free. And so using a lot of these to sweeten stuff. And also, side note, xylitol is very harmful for dogs, so keeping that on hand would not be ideal if you have any dogs in the house because it's toxic. But erythritol is pretty popular, and these are not necessarily bad for you. The only thing is to watch out for them because they're poorly absorbed, they can cause gas and unwanted side effects for people. But the positive of these is that they aren't absorbed like regular sugar, so they're a more natural way to sweeten things. So they're not technically an artificial sweetener. So I know that might be a little confusing, but I just wanted to throw that out there in case you've not heard of these before. You also want to watch out for too much fruit. So we want to have a balance, and that's why we do fruit, we do veggies, we do protein, we do fat. We want to make this a very well-rounded smoothie or protein drink. You want to watch out for too much fruit juice. Now, I'm not saying you can't use any. I'm not going to, be super picky about, never, but it's just if you're using a cup of it as your base, then we're adding an extra 100 to 120 calories, which we could really be adding almond milk for 30, and we could achieve the same really nice, delicious sweet factor if we kind of know the right ways of making that smoothie. And then, as I mentioned before, just not measuring, dumping, not adding, or dumping and not measuring, which can add too many calories, especially things like your fat sources, which are going to be a little bit more like your seeds or your nuts, your nut butters, avocado oils, things like that. You want to be really cautious of, unless you are trying to gain weight. So I will throw that in there. Weight gain, that is actually an excellent thing to focus on, is adding more fat. So if you have someone in your life that, like I mentioned, usually kids or elderly fit into this category, but that's not always the case. As we know, there's lots of different situations where weight gain might be necessary for an individual. Adding extra fat to a smoothie could be really helpful for them. And then, like I mentioned, I talked about the ready-to-drink smoothies. The Bolt House Farms just can be a little tricky with calories, with added sugars. I've seen some brands at Whole Foods. Again, you're just going to get into super expensive, but there are things out there that do not have as much added sugars to them. Sometimes I'll buy the Chobani ready-to-drink smoothies for my son because he really likes those. It does have a little bit of added sugars to them, but it also has at least 10 grams protein. So there's ways around the smoothies when you think ready-to-drink, but yeah, just to kind of put it out there, these are the things that I thought maybe we could watch out for. Okay, and last, I think here, tips and tricks to keep it simple. So freezer bags, these can be really helpful. Freezer bags, meaning they do actually make specific smoothie freezer bags, which I don't think you have to go out there and buy. I just have my Ziploc bags that I cut up fruit and shove it in those and put them in the freezer, and they work great. You can kind of go ahead and do maybe 3 or 4 so that you've got your berries, your spinach, your banana, your whatever you want in there, and take it out right before you're going to make your smoothie. Choosing a blender, that's ideal for you. We're going to talk about blenders here in just a second. Leaving the blender out so it's visible, just to remind you, keeping the ingredients to a minimum, like I mentioned before, and also making sure to have the ingredients easily accessible in the morning. I know for me, I have to put them right together in a little, container, a little pile in the refrigerator, so that I open the refrigerator and there it is. There's my yogurt, there's my, my fruits maybe in the freezer, there's my almond milk, there it is. I just grab it, take it out, do it. It really doesn't take too long. And then I might have a cleanup saved for a little bit later. Okay. And then when it comes to blenders, You guys, there's a ton out there. I think I just tried to go with some of the cheaper options because I think that's realistic. I do not think you need to go out there and buy a Vitamix unless that's something you're into. I don't have one, and I don't know that I ever will, just because I don't. I just wouldn't use it enough at this point in my life. I have a Ninja. That's been one of the best things for me. It's not super expensive, but it is on a little bit of the higher price range of this list. It's just a great go-to personal blender. It can be difficult to clean. So that was in the reviews, and I agree with that. There's little nooks and crannies that can be a little frustrating. But other than that, there's a few different vessels that it comes with, and it's just an easy one to do. And that's going to be the one over to the left, top left. Okay, the purple one is the Hamilton Beach Personal Blender. This one is just great. It's portable, so you can take it with you and kind of drink out of it. It doesn't really do ice cubes well, so you might have a harder time doing frozen fruit. So I would leave your frozen fruit out for a little bit before blending, maybe with that one, given that information. The OSHR blend, which is right to the left of where it says OSHR, the OSHR My Blend, 250 watt blender, easy to use, travel friendly, and it does do great with frozen food, just a little bit more expensive than the Hamilton Beach one. Bottom left there with the blue, you've got the Bella Personal Rocket sized blender, very inexpensive, extra vessels, which is always nice, and accessories, but it's saying that it blends inconsistently. So that's something to think about too. And then you've got your NutriBullet, which is going to be the most expensive of this list. It does help extract nutrition to the next level. That's kind of their theme of what they like to kind of promote. The blades aren't durable, so that's something to think about. I don't know if they have some warranties on that, but I didn't look into that. But these are it's just showing you do not have to spend a lot of money to get just an easy personalized blender to make some of these. Okay, I want to make sure I'm having enough time to do these smoothies. I'm talking a lot. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make a raspberry peach mango smoothie bowl. And then I think I should have time to make my second smoothie, which is going to be the simple green smoothie that's going to be on the Build a Perfect Smoothie handout that you're going to get alongside this raspberry peach mango smoothie bowl recipe, which I got from Eating Well, which I love. That one website, I've used that a lot. All right, guys. So first of all, I'm going to show you my blender here. Let me get things, making sure you guys can kind of see everything okay. Just shout out if you have a hard time seeing. And I got a lot going on over here to the side, but I have a lot of things I want to show you. I'm not necessarily using all of these ingredients, but I'm going to show you guys a lot of things. Okay, so first of all, for the raspberry peach mango smoothie, one of the main ingredients in this is mango, which is just such a nice, powerful amount of vitamin C. That's what it's really known for. Right here, I've got in my bag, I have some mango, and I have also added a half of a banana. Okay, so I'm going to put that in here. All right, so there we go. So convenience factors, it's already chopped up. It only took me about less than a minute to chop that up and put it in the freezer. So I think sometimes you just have to take that time after you go to the grocery store or the farmer's market and go ahead and do some chopping. Okay, so for our protein today, we aren't actually going to use any protein powder. I've talked to you a little bit about those protein powders, but I wanted to use, the recipe is calling for just a plain Greek yogurt, which I have the Fage 2% milk fat. I didn't get the fattiest, and I did not get the leanest. So I just somewhere right in the middle. A cup of this is about 16 grams of protein. I'm using 3/4 of a cup, and this will make more than one smoothie. So what you can do is you can freeze this smoothie bowl and take it out the next day, or you can cut the recipe down, kind of feel out how much you would eat, And then a trial and error just to see, I think 2 cups of this is a serving for this recipe. So, and all the nutrition facts information is going to be listed on the recipe that you get. And then it called for 1/4 cup of regular milk, but I'm going to use almond milk. All right, so I just have an unsweetened almond milk that I'm pouring in here. All right. So after you combine the mango, the yogurt, and the milk, and then you're going to do a teaspoon of just some vanilla extract, which is great for adding in that just natural sweetness. In addition, that's a little extra. Whoops, that's okay. In addition to the fruit. All right. So I'm going to plop on the top to my Ninja. The Ninja has an attachment that goes on top. Do it up like that, okay? And it's obviously going to be loud here for a second, guys. I'm going to get my bowl out. Okay, so I'm going to check the consistency. It does pretty good, but sometimes you can get, a little bit of chunks. I just kind of stir it up a little bit in there, and then I'm going to do a round 2. Okay, that looks awesome. All right, that is all you do with this is blend that up. And then I am going to have to wash this off here in just a second before. Okay. So one of the fun things about smoothie bowls is what you can add to them. What I'm going to do is pour it in here. You can kind of, I'm sorry if this is tough to see the consistency. I'm going to show it to you with a spoon. I hate that y'all can't try this. Okay, so as you can see right here, I'm going to add stuff to it, but the consistency, I don't know if you're able to see that very well, but it's very, it's thicker than, your average protein shake smoothie. Just with that, all that frozen fruit is really helpful. So questions, because I know I haven't even taken any yet. So what questions do we have so far?
Yes. If you want to get different benefits from each type of protein powder, use different proteins, like combine them, put some collagen with some animal-based.
Yes, you can definitely combine collagen. That's a good example. Collagen combined because it doesn't have a lot of different, it doesn't have a whole lot of protein in there. It's about 8 grams. You could do maybe half of a serving of 2 different types of protein if you wanted to. But again, remember, the protein shake is not it should not be the sole source of how you meet all your needs. It doesn't matter, maybe we talk about variety for the rest of the day. But yeah, I mean, that's a good thought. You can definitely mix some proteins together, but I do commonly tell people that they can put collagen into another protein source if they would like to.
Okay, good. And is hemp or flax milk a healthier choice than almond or walnut milk?
It really just depends. So when you're looking at milks, the almond milk doesn't have a lot of protein, the flax milk does. So if you're using these milks with not the intentions of adding any other protein to it, and then yeah, I would go for the flax. If you and again, flavor profile has a big part of it too. I think that these milks are very insignificant when it comes to the differences. I think that bottom line, if you're using almond milk, then let's add a different type of protein to your smoothie. Maybe we bump the protein intake up a little bit in that. If you're, using flax milk, might have a little bit more fat, a little bit more omega-3s in there. Maybe we're adding actual flax seeds to our almond milk smoothie. So it really just depends, and that's something that the dietitian can help someone work through.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on daily harvest
Yeah,
smoothies? Are you
that's
familiar
great.
with this?
I am familiar. You're looking at it, you're looking at an extra expense. So it depends on your situation and what you're into. If you're into convenience and you want to pay a little bit more money for them, the nutrient profile and everything about them looks great and fantastic. And I've thought about doing them myself too. But at the same time, if you can get into a rhythm of how simple some of this stuff can be and have the ingredients on hand, you can maybe try to make some of these smoothie bowls at home. But yeah, our daily harvest is a great option for ready to eat pretty much. Blended Spoon is another one. If you're into those types of services, Blended Spoon does smoothies, and I think that those are really great and healthy too. And they also do soups and other things, just like Daily Harvest does other food options as well. Let me show you guys this smoothie bowl real quick, and then I will, and what I'm adding to it, and then I'll take a couple more questions. So what I've done, all I've done here is I have added to the mango, the milk, and the yogurt. I have added a few raspberries and a few slices of peach. And then to add a little bit of healthy fat, I am going to sprinkle, and I'm just sprinkling. I'm just taking sorry, I just dropped some. I'm just going to take a little pinch and put these almond slices over it. So you can measure, but that's not, I mean, that's maybe a quarter of a teaspoon. And then sky's the limit with what you choose. This particular recipe asks for chia seeds. I love hemp seeds. Okay, hemp seeds have a nuttier flavor to me, and I just like the way that they taste. You can put them in smoothies, oatmeal, salads. They really are versatile. They have a lot more protein to them than flax seeds. They also have the omega-3, omega-6 healthy fat profile to them as well. So just to kind of show you what those look like, if you've never used them before, it might be hard to tell, but they're, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that on my hand or not, but they just look like little bird food, right? But they're really good. They're just from the hemp seed family here. Just kind of sprinkle those on. And then one of my favorite parts of this smoothie, and I have a ginormous bag that I got from Costco that's going to last me like 10 years probably. It's probably going to go bad before I use it all. I didn't know how big of a bag I was ordering. So that is something you look for when you're purchasing some of this stuff. Caught me off guard. Anyway, unsweetened shredded coconut, absolutely delicious. I just sprinkle a little bit over, and that is it. So guys, all you need for this is a frozen bag of mango, and I put a little bit of banana in there, chop up a couple peaches, throw in a few raspberries, and then yeah, you'll have to buy the sliced almonds and things like that. If you don't want all those added things and you just want this, then here you go. It's absolutely delicious. This is fantastic. I've had it a couple of times, and all my family members love it. These are kind of fun for kids too, if you have kids that are into smoothies. Okay, questions.
So is it true that we should use protein powders or powders that don't contain GUAR gum or other gums? If so, what effect do gums have on the body?
So
GUAR gums.
Yes. So guar gums and added gums and thickeners and things like that. I think that if you're having them in a protein powder, I think that, again, there's so many other wonderful things that we're having. I don't think we're going to get into a situation where everything is perfect. I mean, there's gums and emulsifiers and almond milk too. And so the thing is, I really don't think that it's that big of a deal. If I'm being honest, I can't sit here and quote off everything that guar gum does to our bodies. So I'm going to just be honest, and I can look back and help explain that after researching for myself too. But when it comes down to it, I just really feel that, we're always trying to be perfect about everything. But I think if we're just trying to take some of the things that I've suggested, maybe some of the powders that I've suggested that have been researched and kind of overlooked for as far as their protein profile and some of the other ingredients that are located in them, and then you're adding all these wonderful things to your smoothies too, I think that is kind of more that matters. But at the same time, yeah, I think that's a fair question, and I can look into that a little bit more.
Okay. What do you think of, hold on, I just missed it, V8 healthy greens for veggie part to use in a bowl?
To use like a V8 juice?
A
like
V8 juice that it has healthy greens, I guess, for in the smoothie.
I think that'd be fine. I think, when it comes to those types of V8 juices and things like that, we're looking at sodium content. That's kind of thing that jumps out at me with V8. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's that's a good option if you're not into other vegetables and other things to kind of put in there. That could be something that you use a little bit of to just kind of boost the nutrients. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Curious about the difference between ready-to-go protein shakes and something like Ensure.
Oh, well, I mean, Ensure is technically can be a ready-to-drink protein drink. And they actually do have Ensure and Boost and Glucerna, which are used a lot of times for historically for individuals that aren't able to eat or drink really very well and need a little extra supplementation. So they have some protein, but not a ton. They have a little bit more calories to them. They can be anywhere from 250 to 300 calories. Maybe not a ton of protein, maybe have a little bit more carbohydrates to them, but they've changed the profiles of some of these over the years. And so I think that, yeah, there's different options out there. But some of the ones that I mentioned are a little bit more protein heavy and do not have as many carbohydrates to them and as much fat. So I think what you want to do, no matter what you're looking at ready to drink protein wise, is to look at those macronutrients. And this is something that the dietitian, if you work with someone one-on-one, can kind of help explain to you when you have a little, bit more time to focus in on some of these specific things, but to help you look at the labels and kind of say, okay, let's look and compare, these protein drinks have a little bit more calories to them, but they're a little bit more of a complete meal. So let's feel these out as something that maybe you use for a meal replacement versus this 120 calorie protein shake that has 20 grams protein, but 0 fat and like 5 carbs. This would be more of a snack. And so I think it just depends no matter what, whether it's a Ensure or it's a Premier Protein. I think we just got to kind of look at it and talk about it and see what and where it's going to fit in with your day and with your needs.
Okay. Good. Do you want to do your other smoothie?
Yes. Let me see if I have time. I'm gonna rinse this out really quickly. And this one is super fast. It's in the name, simple. So hold on one second. Okay, guys, let's get to the second one, which you're going to get the recipe for as well. Like I mentioned, this is the simple green smoothie, which uses a lot of spinach. And that's, had to throw in one that uses the vegetables, right? This one uses water instead of a milk, which is up to you. I mean, adding an unsweetened almond milk is only going to add maybe an extra 30 calories or so. So if you prefer the texture of the almond milk, the kind of creamy or thickness of it, although almond milk is technically thin, so it'd be very similar to water. It's up to you. But I'm going to use water. I'm going to grab that really fast. Hold on. Okay. So let me spin this down so you can see my blender here. So I have a cup of water. One thing I'm going to do first before I blend up my frozen stuff is I'm going to blend the spinach in first. So I just have my baby spinach here, 2 cups of not hard packed, but a lightly packed spinach. I'm not going to chop it up or anything. I'm really just taking it and putting it in here. Okay, and I'm just going to dump it in. And for any of you that are skeptical about green stuff, I'm being honest, you can't taste the spinach, okay? Now, one thing you can taste in this is it has a little bit more of a bitter taste with the Greek yogurt as its base. You could change it up if you wanted to. Instead of using, it calls for, I'm going to blend this real fast, the spinach in the water, which as we know, spinach is awesome. It's a superfood. It has just tons of fiber, iron, vitamin A, folate, anything, just lots of stuff, lots of good antioxidants, and spinach is fantastic. If you can easily get it in a smoothie like this once a day or once every other day, then I think that's awesome. Okay, so we've got our spinach, we got our water. Then I've got about a cup of frozen fruit. I've got pineapple. I threw in a little mango. This didn't call for it, but I had a little extra, and then it does call for a half of a small banana frozen. So you've got your pineapple, your banana. So I'm going to throw that in there. Then I'm going to do the yogurt. It calls for a half a cup of yogurt. I'm just going to bring out my Greek yogurt again. This is a 1/4 cup measurement, so I'm just going to do this twice. This smoothie has about 300 calories to it with a full fat. I think since we're not using a full fat, I'm using kind of a partly skim. It's going to be a little less, you know, probably upper to 280, something like that. I mean, it's not that significant of a change, but about 14 grams of protein, very good. But again, you could switch it up and add protein powder to this if you wanted to instead of the yogurt. If you wanted to make it a little bit more protein rich, 30 grams of protein if you just worked out and you want to have a little bit more. That's it. Okay, guys. So that's as simple as it gets. We've just got spinach, frozen fruit, yogurt. All right. And again, if you guys wanted to add things like hemp seeds, flax seeds, something like that to it, you certainly could, especially if you have that on hand. Oops, there we go. One thing I like about this one too is it has a spout. So you can, I don't think I showed that, but it has a spout so you can pour it. It's not necessary, but it's kind of convenient. All right. And
what
straws.
kind of blender was that, Katie?
This is a Ninja.
Ninja.
Mm-hmm. And it's an old one, I will say. So mine might look a little archaic compared to some of the new ones out there. I got this a long time ago, but straws are fun too for smoothies. I have quite a bit of these with kids. So yes, it's delicious.
Katie, on the bowl or the smoothie, if you make 2 and freeze 1, how do you reblend it when you come out of the freezer, or you just let it thaw a little bit on your countertop?
I would just let it thaw, and then if I would say all you would need to do is just mix it up. You know, just if you have a mini whisk or a fork, you know, just something that you can easily kind of mix it, because it might be, you know, a little inconsistent with the liquid. Maybe that's the only thing I would say. But no, and this one pretty much makes a full cup like this. Okay, so about 16 ounces or so. So it depends, you know, if you're having something in addition to this, then maybe you don't need all of it, but yeah, very fast, especially if you've done a little bit of prep work and you have the ingredients on hand and you keep it simple. If you tell yourself, I do not have to literally add every type of seed I have in my house to make this healthy. I just need to get the spinach in me. So there we go. Half the time, all we're trying to do is get more fruits and vegetables in, guys. Remember that. And this is a great way to do it.
Okay. Do you have you heard of the 10-day green smoothie cleanse book?
No, but I'm maybe not a good one to talk to because I don't believe
Okay.
in cleanses. I don't like
Okay.
them. I don't think that they're necessary, and I think that they signify that we can't have flexibility and variety, and I don't like that. I don't like rigid, structured things. But I like the idea of adding in some more of these to your day, to your week. I think we can start there.
Okay, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And does Smoothie King have any healthy options, or how can you tell when you go to a smoothie place? There's so many of them.
That's a good question, and I almost put a slide in there about purchasing out, and I didn't. So when you're purchasing out, yes, you can see calorie content for pretty much everything. And now that you know how to build a good smoothie, when I send you, this handout, when you get it, you're going to see here protein, fat, fruits and vegetables and free foods. Make sure that you're looking and telling them, look, I don't want a bunch of juice in there. All I want is some greens. I want a cup of fruit. Advocate for what you want based on some of the things you've learned today. But then also you might be able, they're going to tell you some nutrition information too. So I think that the smoothie places, Tropical Smoothies, Smoothie King, a lot of those places now have kind of gotten into that. People actually want to have smoothies to fuel them and make them feel good and not have all these extra added ingredients and calories if they don't want them in there. So I think that, you have more options these days with that.
Okay, and a couple of people noticed that you peeled the skin off that peach. Could you add the skin in to add fiber?
Can.
Okay.
Please do so, guys. I have a weird, I don't know if it's an aversion or what it is, but I cannot eat peach skin. We all have our weird things. I love skins for everybody. Eat skins off of anything that makes sense to you and you enjoy. But yeah, I can't eat the fuzzy skin. No.
Okay, just a personal preference then.
That's right.
What's the biggest bang for my buck? The lowest calorie, highest protein add-in that I could use for shakes and smoothies?
I would probably say getting a big container of Greek yogurt.
Okay, good.
I would say that for sure. If you don't want to go out and spend $35 on protein powder, getting a plain Greek yogurt and getting the biggest one you can find wherever you're at, Costco, wherever. I think that that's going to be the best source of protein. Very versatile too.
And one person asked, how would you add granola or oats? Would you do that on the top or would you blend it in?
Oats I would blend in. I don't think I would like oats just plain. Personally, granola would be great on top of a smoothie bowl.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I've had a couple for diabetics. How can we reduce the effect of natural sugars of the fruits without taking away the taste?
What I've just done, this right here, limiting your fruit to a cup, adding in a fat, and making sure that you have fiber. So you have fiber from your spinach. You have fat. For full fat, I would choose full fat Greek yogurt. I would maybe even add in some, hemp seeds or something like that. You could add in a little bit more. I would use lower sugar fruits, maybe, to be honest. Maybe raspberries would be a good option as well. Maybe not as much banana. That might be a trial and error with some people to figure out what ratio works best, because smoothies are liquid, and sometimes that can be a little bit different on our blood sugars than eating the actual fruits and fats and things together as in a meal. But yes, making sure to not overdo the fruit, adding in as much natural sweetness as you can, with vanilla, with cinnamon, with things like that. And yeah, just adding in those vegetables, adding in that fiber, adding in that fat is really important.
Okay, and I had one ask about, are hemp seeds okay if you get random drug tested at work? I can't imagine that it would show up.
That's cute. No, yes, you're fine. Yeah, they're totally legal.
Okay.
They don't have THC in them.
There you go. How do you keep a smoothie from tasting gritty?
Blender.
Blender. Blend more.
And noting some of the different protein powders that we were talking about, like the mixability factors are big too. So sometimes your plant-based protein powders can be a little grittier. So I wouldn't use a shaker cup, even if you are just doing protein powder and milk. I would use a blender or something, or like a hand blender or something like that instead of a shaker cup, unless you're using whey protein, because whey protein, like we mentioned, has the best mixability.
Okay. Let's see. Do you have any information regarding clean juice? Like just
In general juices or the brand? I think there's a
let's
brand
see.
clean juice.
I think there's a brand store, has all the ingredients listed on their bottles.
Juices are awesome. Juices are phenomenal. Juices are expensive.
Yeah.
So that's a personal preference. I do not think that we need to go out there and buy $5 a pop juices to get the nutrients that we need in a day. So that's a personal preference. Smoothies are cheaper. You can get great additional fruits and vegetables. Like I said, keep it simple. Keep it realistic. We need more fruits and vegetables in our day. How do we get those in? This is an easy way to do it. We don't need to go break the bank and buy the most expensive thing out there to get it done. But some people take that very seriously and really want to have those extra things in their day, and they don't care about the price factor. Maybe they save money in other areas because they prioritize that. That's just a personal preference, in my opinion.
Okay. And one last question. What are your thoughts on Soylent? Soylent. Soylent.
Soylent.
Yes.
I'm stumped. I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Okay, that might be one we need to Google. I've never heard of it either. And are BlendJet personal blenders a good choice?
I think that's kind of, you see that advertised a lot lately. Yeah, I think the price is a little bit more expensive than some of the personal blenders that I presented in this presentation that have gotten good reviews. So what I would do is, Amazon is awesome with taking things back. I don't know. I would personally try a cheaper option to see if it fits your needs for a personal blender. I think the BlendJets are about $50. But yeah, they look cool, but that's all I can say is that there might be some cheaper options out there, but they seem like they work very well given the advertisements. I've never used one, so
okay. And can you add a fiber base like Metamucil to a smoothie? Is that still?
Yeah, you certainly can. If you're someone that struggles with regular digestion, smoothies just in general, adding chia seeds, adding fiber from spinach, adding fiber in that way might be a way to get you to a point where you don't have to have something like Metamucil every day. But Metamucil is a prebiotic fiber coming from fruits and vegetables, and it's fantastic. It's fine, especially if it's something that you've worked out with your physician or, a GI doctor or someone, and you rely on that every day. Yeah, you can certainly add that into your smoothie.
Okay. Good. So evidently Soylent is a full meal replacement that's supposed to provide complete nutrition.
Oh, okay. It's a brand of something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, y'all, I wish I knew every little thing, and I just don't. So I'm thankful for research and for being able to figure it out for you. But yes, I'd have to look that over.
Yeah, so I would suggest to just compare the ingredients to some of the ones on the earlier slide.
Right.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Katie. We went a little bit over, but I think it was all great questions and great information. So thank you, and thank you to all our participants who came today, and get ready for the September one. But thank you all for coming.
Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.